Looking to become an international educator and work at an international school? If so, you may be wondering, how much am I going to get paid? While the answer to that question varies from place to place, I'm going to break down my own salary as an international teacher in Thailand and share a few details about other jobs that I've applied for or even been offered within this country and outside. Hey guys, my name is Nikki and welcome to my adventurous life. This is an eclectic channel that details my journey from being a frustrated public school teacher in America to living a life of adventure, pursuing meaningful work, and experiencing all that this world has to offer. In this video, we're going to talk about international teacher pay. I'll share my salary with you and discuss some of the other jobs I've applied to or been offered in Thailand and beyond, so you can have a realistic sense of what you can expect to be paid month to month as an international teacher. As always, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And visit my website, nikkiforzane.com, to learn more about my vision and how you can transform your unfulfillment into a life of adventure as well. Salary negotiations. It's the part of the interview process that nobody looks forward to, yet it may be the most important part of the entire process. If you're thinking about applying for an international teaching job, this video is for you. I'm going to break down my salary as an international educator in Northern Thailand and talk about some of my interview experiences in other parts of the country and around the world, so that you can have a good idea of what kind of salary you should be looking for. So let's get right into the numbers. In some parts of the world, international teaching salaries are rumored to be much higher than what you're going to hear me talk about today. They may even be higher than your current job in the United States, Canada, Australia, Europe, or wherever you find yourself. For example, based on some research I've done and conversations I've had with natives, the average high school teacher in Switzerland makes somewhere around 83,695 Swiss francs per year. That's the equivalent of 96,729 US dollars. This just goes to show that some countries value their educators much higher than the United States does. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that the usefulness of this salary is relative to the cost of living in that specific country. Switzerland is one of the most expensive countries in the world to live in. So that $96,000 won't go quite as far as it does for those of us living in Omaha, Nebraska, Biloxi, Mississippi, or Little Rock, Arkansas, for example. For me, living in Thailand, which is one of the cheapest countries in the world, my salary goes quite far. Let's talk specifics here for a second. My base salary as a secondary school teacher here in Northern Thailand, teaching English language arts, is 55,531 baht per month. In addition to that, I'm given 4,000 baht a month as a housing allowance. This gross salary comes out to 59,531 baht per month. However, each month I have about 2,971 baht deducted for taxes. This past year, I got that back, but I'll be honest, I don't really understand taxation in this country, and I may not be able to expect that in the future. Translated into numbers you might understand better, that's a net salary of about $1,609 per month. Now, before you turn off this video, decrying international education as an absolute scam, give me a second to defend myself. Remember, in Thailand, money can go a lot further than it does in the United States. In fact, most months, my wife and I are able to pay pretty much all, or at least most, of our monthly expenses here in country with my teaching salary. Imagine being a breadwinner in the United States and being able to pay all of your family's expenses with your teaching salary alone. This was unthinkable in the US for us. In fact, in the United States, my full-time income as a teacher, combined with my wife's full-time income working in banking, was barely enough to pay all of our bills, including our mortgage, utilities, food costs, transportation costs, and entertainment. We barely had any left over at the end of each month, and it was extremely stressful. As things stand now, I have a couple of side hustles that earn me extra money in US dollars each month. And my wife works a part-time job where she's able to earn US dollars as well. That, combined with the rental income from our house back in the United States, means that when we budget effectively, we're able to save a fair amount of money each month. Now, this is what I make at a small international school in a fairly small town in Northern Thailand. With that being said, what can you expect to make at other schools in Thailand in bigger cities like Bangkok or Chiang Mai, and beyond this country, in places like South America or Europe, for example. Well, I can only speak to the experiences that I've had, so let me try to fill in the gaps a little bit for you. I have friends in Bangkok who work as teachers at secondary schools, making between 80 and 90,000 baht per month. That's between 2,300 and 2,600 US dollars. However, Bangkok is a much more expensive city than the one that I live in Northern Thailand. I've heard reports of teachers in China and the United Arab Emirates, places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, earning upwards of 4,000 US dollars a month. The actual amount that you earn will depend entirely upon the city and country that you're living in. Not to mention your qualifications, such as possessing a master's degree, working as an administrator or a specialist. For licensed teachers in America or European countries, teaching abroad can be a pretty lucrative alternative to the seeming glass ceiling that exists in our native countries. But if you don't possess a teaching license or certification, you actually may still have opportunities in an international context. For example, if you're an IT specialist and think that you do well with kids, you might want to consider working as a computer science teacher or an ICT teacher in some of these international schools. In Thailand, for example, you don't actually need a teaching license to work for a school here. You're given 6 years to begin an education program, which means that you could come here and teach for half of a decade without ever being licensed. And if you enjoyed it, you could get a master's degree or teaching certification online while you're working. If you're a native English speaker and you have about 60 hours to put into an online TOEFL certification course, you can come to this country or countries like this and teach English to adults, businessmen and women, or even children in an after-school context at a private language school and make pretty good money. Some people do this on their own, as I did with my cold email pitches, or some people use companies to get them established within school systems. Sites like TravelBud are great for this. However, if you use a company like TravelBud, you can expect to pay between $500 and $1,000 just to get placed. In my opinion, it's not really worth it. But that option's available for you if you'd like someone to do the work for you. Using a company like this will probably result in employment at a private language school, and you may be paid between $1,000 and $1,200 US dollars per month. That said, it may not be a 40-hour-a-week schedule. The bottom line is, pay really varies depending on what your qualifications are and where you end up. Take it from me though, in a lot of places, the leverage that you possess as a native English speaker with a teaching license and experience will give you much better opportunities financially than you may have had back in your home country. So if this is something you've been considering, I hope this video gives you a little bit more context for the negotiations that you're going to be walking into, and hopefully gives you a little bit of confidence that you can actually make this thing happen. So if you found this content helpful and want to find out more about living a life of adventure, whether that's as an international educator or in something else entirely, then you'll love the rest of the content on my channel and on my website, nikkiferzane.com, where I have free resources like a template for cold email pitches that I sent out to international schools when I was looking for a job. If you want to make a copy of that template and use it for yourself, be my guest. It's free at the link above. I'd also love for you to subscribe to my email list, where I'll be detailing different strategies for obtaining international teaching jobs, learning how to adventure abroad, and thinking about the world from a new perspective. If you're interested in learning more about my vision, go to my website, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.